Hello everybody, it's Laura here from Laura's Creative Pages and Cards, and I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how I've coloured in this young lady here, which is from the June stamp of the month. What I'm going to quickly share with you first of all is that my colouring and skills are pretty much self-taught. I haven't gone and done any classes. It's come from practice. And what I'm colouring in with today are the shinhan markers from Close to My Heart. Okay, so I'm going to get going and I'm going to see how I go doing this live, well not live, on a video with you guys. Okay, so one of the first tips with my colouring in is I tend to brush the colour on in strokes, so I don't go back and forth. I actually put it onto the image in strokes. So this particular image here, like I said, is from the June stamp of the month, and I stamped it in memento, black memento, so that way as I go over the lines it doesn't bleed. Okay, the other thing is when I'm going to add a little bit of definition into the image, I actually like to do it whilst the ink is still wet. I don't like to let it completely dry, because if it completely dries when you go to put on the extra colour, it becomes very obvious. Okay, so I want to give this little girl some pink cheeks. So this is the tender pink. That was the tender pink that I did for the cheeks, and then for the skin tone colour I've used pastel peach. So, but because I don't want this bright pink, I'm just going to go over it with the pastel peach a little bit and just blend that pink out for her cheeks. Okay, so that just gives it a nice natural look. Then of course her legs are also in the pastel peach as well. So again, just little strokes on there. I try not to go over the line. If you saturate the paper too much, that's when you start getting the bleeding. So I don't go back and forth, I just give it little tiny strokes, and I do actually like to be quite fast, because the slower you are, you'll end up giving it a really thick tone, I guess is what you can say. Okay, so for her boots I've done marine blue, and so I do take my time filling into the lines, and then just nice long strokes. Being a nice big section, it's easier to do nice long strokes. Outline it and then fill it in. Like I said, I am self-taught, and I know that there'll be other ways out there that are different, not necessarily, but are just different. So I'm just giving the definition in there now. Bit of extra blue on there. It will dry differently, you'll notice that as the video goes along. Okay, and the other boot here. And I am not pressing hard onto the paper. My hand is very light and very gentle as I put the colour onto the image. Okay. Alright, so on her skirt, you'll notice that there's a little bit of white there. Just wanted to give it a little bit of a pattern. So all I did was I just didn't colour into the edge. So I just left a little bit of a white gap, which looks quite nice. You could play around, you could definitely give this skirt different colour ruffles, which would look super cute. Okay, so yeah, that's her skirt, and I did colour in a bit of her jacket as well, in the yellow. Okay, just coming along quite nicely. So that was golden yellow in the shinhan markers. For her t-shirt is the carmine red. So as you can see, sticking to my just individual little strokes and painting it on. Her scarf is also in the marine blue, which is the same as her boots. Now you can go over the lines and it doesn't bleed if it's just like one stroke over the line. It's when you continue to go over the line and you've saturated the paper, that's when it's going to bleed. So all that's left is her hair, and for her hair I use Marigold. Okay, so obviously this has got lots of black lines in it, so you're going to be going over those lines, but again, just little individual strokes, not back and forth, not saturating the paper. I'm so sorry, that blurred. Okay, it's looking quite good. So I hope that you can see where I went over her boots. It's given a little bit of depth into her boots there. How I didn't quite fill in the skirt, where I've given her the little rosy cheeks. So once it's dry, you can certainly go over and give it a little bit more of a touch up if you want. So if you want those eyes to pop a little bit more, just the same colour, the pastel peach over a little earlier, so she's all nice and dry. And just to showcase a little bit of my other colouring in on this card, the apple crates, the shinhan's are also great going over the top of a word, just to highlight a word in a sentiment. On the apple side of here, I coloured it in, and then what I actually did was just traced over the word, just to give the word a little bit more of depth. So there you go, really quick.